Hello everyone. For those who don't know me, I'm Kat. I'm a wife, a homeschool mom, and an avid reader. For everyone else, welcome back. It is the start of leg 4 for the amazing Readathon, Next Stop Everywhere. And I'm gonna start with, for those of you who may not have watched my last vlog, giving you an update of where I'm at. I am currently still reading leg 3's Songs of the Dead by Brandon Sanderson and Peter Aurelian. This is a book that we have a magic system based around music. Really interesting premise to it all. Sanderson apparently was writing this book for many years since he wrote Atlantis and just couldn't or wasn't happy with it, and now has invited Peter Aurelian to join him and make it into the novel that it is. Currently, I am reading this as an e-arc, but the book comes out on Tuesday, June 16th, I believe is the date. Yes, the 16th. So, by the time you're watching this, it will already be out, and maybe there will be a little bookstore trip in this vlog, picking up the actual book, but we'll have to see. Really enjoying this one, but as I said, this is my leg 3 book. We are in leg 4, which is a book that includes a holiday. Now, luckily, I was reading The Wedding Witch during leg 2, and the leg ended before I finished The Wedding Witch as a sightseeing prompt. So that is going to go into, that means that I can post that one as soon as I finish Songs of the Dead and submit it. I can immediately submit my leg 4 book. So my goal today, it's 1:15. My goal today is to get as much reading as I can get done, in hopes of, if not finishing the book today, getting really close to finishing it so that I can submit that one. I don't know when this leg is going to end, because we also have the Faceoff Weekend starting Friday at noon. So I am gonna get reading in hopes of getting as far as I can, as much reading as I can done today, so that I can help my team out, because right now Pandorica is not doing quite so hot. We have we did not finish leg 3 as first place, so we don't know exactly where we're at, but last we had heard we were last place. So how leg 3 is going to affect that, I don't know. But I'm going to get to reading, and I will check in with you soon. I have now finished, oh, that's not the right book. I have now finished Songs of the Dead, and I loved this book. I now have to wait until Tuesday for it to actually come out to purchase it from my shelf. But it is part of the Cosmere, and originally it was supposed to be called Death by Pizza, and the main character was supposed to work in a pizza shop, but instead Sanderson had changed it to being a nightclub, or music nightclub, whatever it's called. So I love this book. I read like 50% of it last night and then couldn't keep my eyes open anymore. And so then I finished it this morning. Once, as with any Sanderson book, once things really start happening, things happen and they don't stop until the end. So I am curious where the next book is going to go when it does come out. It's supposed to be a trilogy, all written with Peter Aurelian. So we'll see what happens next. But I had a great time. I'm giving it 5 stars. And the only thing that would make this book even better is if they bring Michael and Kate back to do the audio. That would be the only, like, cherry on the ice cream. But I don't think that couple is doing as many audiobooks, if any, anymore. Let's see. I'm looking at the ebook. No, it's narrated by Luke Daniels. I haven't done any of his, but he does a lot of RPG, lit RPG books. So I think I have a lit RPG book in my set. Anyway, I'm distracted. Overall, great book. I'm excited for it to officially come out on Tuesday. And now I need to type up my review and then pick my next book. All right, let's do our roll for leg 4. Now that I have submitted a book involving a holiday. That one was The Wedding Witch. So, sightseeing roll 1 is a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A book any host gave 5 stars, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A book where the synopsis confuses you. I'm going to have to go a little bit easier and go a book that any host gave 5 stars. So I'm going to check out a couple hosts and their 5-star reads, and then I will let you know what I'm going to read next. All right, so for my roll, I had a 5-star read of a host. So I went to Books and Heather. She just happened to have a video she put up recently that had a set of her like stats for the first quarter of the year, including some 5-star reads. And one of those 5-star reads is one that I've heard a lot about, or heard a lot of hype about, and I wanted to give it a shot. And that is This Story Might Save Your Life by Tiffany Crum. I don't know like anything about this book other than people are really enjoying reading it. So it's Benny Abbott and Joy Moore host one of the most beloved podcasts in the world. Each week they delight listeners with a different, against all odds survival story, gleefully finding the weird, life-affirming humor in near-death experiences. Since our first episode on Joy's experience with severe narcolepsy, they've been the best friends everyone wants to befriend. And thanks to the meticulous management of Joy's husband, Xander, they've built a lucrative empire. The problem is their next survival story may be their own. When Benny arrives at Joy and Xander's home one morning to record, he finds shattered glass and an empty house. The one clue shedding light on the couple's disappearance is the incomplete, previously unseen first draft of Joy's memoir. Benny will stop at nothing to find them, even as the police soon zero on him as their prime suspect. Millions of devoted listeners think they know the real Benny and Joy, but as the hours tick by and the odds seem increasingly stacked against Joy and Xander being found alive, not even the most devoted fans can guess the terrible secrets of their favorite famous BFFs have hidden from the world and from each other. So, I am excited to give this one a shot. I just went to the bookstore and bought this one. My library has a wait list of like 150 people on the wait list. So I knew I wouldn't get that in time to read for this leg, for sightseeing. So I'm going to turn on some sprints and get listening, and I will check in with you guys soon. I am chugging along in This Story Might Save Your Life. I don't have the dust jacket on it right now because I never read with the dust jacket. So last night, I actually, before I went to bed, I was at 40% through the book. I had to force myself to put it down because I was enjoying it so much. Things start happening almost immediately, and I will say even before I hit the 25% mark, I did not want to put it down. And I have continued to read it every time that I have been awake today. I did have a slight hiccup in my day. Last night, my back was a little bit sore, but by this morning, it was completely shot. So I went to the chiropractor, came home, took some medicine, and my body said, that's it. So I went ahead and enjoyed a nap. I think I took probably a 3 or 4 hour nap, woke up, started reading. I really am enjoying this. So we have all of these tensions, dual timelines. We have things happening from Benny's point of view, which is what's happening right now, after Joy has been kidnapped or disappeared. We aren't exactly sure. Window has been broken. She and Xander are missing. But so we have Benny's going forward from day 0, 1, 2, 3, so on. But Joy, we get her memoir, and so we have bits of her memoir interspersed between, and so sometimes we have nothing going on, or we have not nothing going on. We have points that are from way back when Benny and, or starting when Benny and Joy met, going forward to present day. And as you're watching her life unfold, you're starting to pick up on these secrets that she might be keeping. I picked up pretty early on what I thought was happening, and so far all signs are leaning that way. So I'm going to keep reading and see what is going to happen in this tale. We are... Benny is about to go to the search party. It is day 3, and hopefully we will find Joy and Xander. I'm at 191 pages out of 350, so just over the halfway mark, just before the 2/3 mark. So I'm going to get back into it, and I will check in soon. Alright, last night I did finish This Story Might Save Your Life by Tiffany Crum. I had a great time with this book. It instantly had me hooked. I could not put it down at any point, or didn't want to put it down at any point. I was concerned the other night that I would be up all night reading it. I did find a spot that I could pause so that I could sleep, but I definitely enjoyed this one a whole lot. The audiobook adds a whole other element to it, which is awesome, although not all the parts that it adds are in the physical book. So there were a few things that I had to adjust, but whoever wrote those additional parts read the story, had permission. I don't know, it was well crafted. And they don't really add like a lot to the story, but they do immerse you in the story. And that may have been part of the reason I was having a hard time stopping. So, This Story Might Save Your Life, I am giving 5 stars. Heather did not lead me wrong on this one. So, I am going to move on now to my next read. We are in Faceoff Weekend, and I have sprints running right now. With that, we are currently fighting Cybermen, and so I needed a vet TBR, and I am going to do The Vanishing Cherry Blossom Bookshop. This one was one of those books that I randomly picked up at Barnes & Noble that was $5 at the cafe, and then I put it on my TBR, and I'm gonna get it read today. I think this will also fit some other prompts for the other villains, and so it's kind of why I was leaning toward that one a little bit more. But I'm gonna get reading, and I will check in with you guys shortly with an update on this. Alright, so I am now about a fourth of the way through the Vanishing Cherry Blossom Bookshop. This is a story of stories. There's a bookshop that when people need it, it appears. There are certain caveats to that, but it's a really, at least the first story is really sweet. Our main character has lost her mother and is trying to cope after that. Cope with regrets she has in regards to her mother. So it's super sweet, very, very emotional. However, that doesn't really matter too much right now. Our team, now the Cybermen have been defeated. Bree sent that message over this morning. And our team has decided to go after the newest villain that Bree has revealed, and that's the Master. And for this one, the bonus prompt, you can read anything, but the bonus prompt is a 2026 release. I've already submitted This Story May Change Your Life, or May Save Your Life, which was a 2026 release, but I can't double submit. So that one's not available for me. So I'm just going to have to figure out what book I'm going to do for that. Why you completely restarted, I don't know. All right. So fussing at the TV. So I'm going to keep reading this, and because after the Master's defeated, our team is going toward the Flood, which is an emotional read. So I may finish this one and then save it for when the Master's defeated, and just find another book for the 2026 prompt. I don't know. I'm not one that I enjoy reading multiple books at once, so I'm gonna keep with this one and go from there. But just wanted to check in and give you updates. Enjoying this so far. It does remind me a lot of Before the Coffee Gets Cold, which of the 3 books that I've read so far that are Japanese and then changed or translated into English, it seems that that's a common theme in their writing, is having these mini stories in an overarching large story. That's called frame stories, if you don't know. But I'm going to get back to it, and I will check in soon. Alright, I have finished The Vanishing Cherry Blossom Bookshop. Very cute. It's got the story of 4 people visiting the Cherry Blossom Bookshop. And as I was reading it, I really liked how some of it tied together in the end. Not all of it ties together, but I did have a little bit of a hiccup with the book. So you start off with Sakura and Kabako, who it's the human and the cat of this bookshop. And then the interludes go back through these, or return to these characters, except for the last interlude. And it really threw me off. I understand why the author did that interlude differently, but it does kind of it required me to shift my thinking just a little bit. But it's really neat how some of the characters come back in the epilogue and the final story. So overall, really cute. I'm going to give it 4 stars. It's a gorgeous book, very well written, and definitely encapsulates the imagination of the reader. It's funny because most of the time I don't tab my books unless they're probably smut books. But I did tab this one twice because I had my tabs. I was using my tabs as a bookmark. And one of them was Sakura is explaining the shop to a visitor, and I'm not sure if this makes sense to you in any way, but this place is sort of like a temporary sanctuary, and those in need of a little miracle are invited. And so that was just really a sweet way for that. And then the other one that I bookmarked, I think every cat owner can attest to this. And it's again Sakura. She's talking to Kaboku in this one. You know, every time I read this book, I always wonder, did I tame you or did you tame me? And the book she's reading is about cats. But just very, very funny. Like I said, those are the only two that really stood out to me. There is a lot of repetition in the book, which repetition is not bad. And that repetition is coming with the new visitors. They're being told similar things about the bookshop. So overall, very cute. I'm not going to log this one yet. I'm going to save it for when we fight the flood, I think is the one. That's the emotional. If not, I'm sure I can fit it somewhere else. But I am going to move to fighting the master with my team, because originally, I don't know if I know I mentioned this. This was originally going to be for the Cybermen, which was a TBR vet, but we defeated the Cybermen before I got very far in this. So then that kind of undid that. I hadn't gotten 50 pages in this, so I didn't submit any for the Cybermen. And then it doesn't fit the 2026 release, so I'm just going to hold on to it for now. But I did pick up from the library a 2026 release, and that is Laura Dave's sequel to The Last Thing He Told Me. And this one is the first time I saw him. So I'm excited to start this one. It is a thriller. Let's see what. I really enjoyed The Last Time I Saw it, or the last thing he told me, I think. Yeah, The Last Thing He Told Me. I really enjoyed that one. And this one's 7.5 hours at regular speed, so I will finish that faster than that. But this one picks up from picks up the same characters. And so it's a, where in The Last Thing He Told Me, our main character is left with the daughter of her husband when he just disappears. And this is the sequel. How far would you go for a second chance? 5 years after her husband Owen disappeared, Hannah Hall and her stepdaughter Bailey have settled into a new life in Southern California. Together they forged a relationship with Bailey's grandfather Nicholas and are putting the past behind him. But when Owen shows up at Hannah's new exhibition, she knows that she and Bailey are in danger again. And so they're going to go on the run. So I am going to start this one. And if you've read The Last Thing He Told Me, you'll remember this exhibition as the epilogue, and so it picks up from there. But I'm excited to get started, and I will check in with you soon. So I'm about a third of the way through the first time I saw him, by Laura Dave. And this one, it really does pick up with the epilogue of the last time I saw him. No, the last thing he told me. Good gracious, I'll get it right one day. And so we have this exhibition that Hannah is showing off her work in, and Owen shows up. And it sends off this spiral of events. A character dies that just totally changes everything that was set up at the end of The Last Thing He Told Me. And so once again, Hannah and Bailey are sent fleeing and hiding and trying to pick up all the pieces. It's very interesting, but it definitely is that suspense thriller that I love. And so I am going to get back into it. We're in sprints. I have a few more minutes left of this sprint. And then I don't know if they're going to end them or not. We only have the one sprint this evening. So I'm just going to keep going, and I will let you know my thoughts at the end of the book. Good morning, everyone. Last night I did finish The First Time I Saw Him by Laura Dave. Good gracious. I really enjoyed this. I liked all the point of views we got. And I liked that we got Owen's, or what was going on with Owen during the 5 years. It was really interesting to see all the pieces tied together. I was sad how it ended. Because you really get connected with a character. But I guess that's mafia life. So overall, really enjoyed it. And overall, it's a very real life ending, I guess. Yeah, and that's all I can really say about it without spoiling anything. So, enjoyed it. Now I have to figure out what I'm going to read next. We have about 3.5 hours left of Faceoff Weekend. Alright, so I have picked my next book. I have realized that I basically abandoned my TBR. Oops. Not purposefully, but as I was reading books, I had other ones fit certain prompts. So I am going to kind of return to my TBR. I did have, my book with the preposition wasn't even on my the book I ended up reading wasn't on my TBR, which is Songs of the Dead. So I'm going to go on ahead and start making out with mermaids. And then if I don't finish that today before the end of sprints, or before the end of the kickoff week, or the end of Faceoff Weekend, then I'll just hold on to it and I can put it in for more than one POV later on, and go from there. But if I do finish it, then I can count it as for one of the villains. So I'm going to get started on this now. It says it's 8.5 hours. I seriously doubt it's going to take me 8.5 hours for this book. So, but I think it is going to take me close to the full time. So I'm going to get started now, and then I will check in with you soon. All right, Face-Off Weekend is over. I did not finish Making Out with Mermaids before that time was up. I was only about 40% through the book. So I went ahead and I did not submit any pages for that one. But I really enjoyed this one. I think I enjoyed this one more than Victory for Vampires. While it had spice, the spice was not the main point of it. For Victory for Vampires, I really felt that it was written, and it being a novella, this could have played into it, but it felt like it was written for the sex scenes, and I wasn't enjoying that as much. I like the plot of these books. I love Haven and I love the Everhaven and the characters that are in it and the character development. So I really enjoyed Making Out with Mermaids a whole lot more. I am going to give that one 4.5 star, 4.25 stars probably. It's not quite the level of the 4.5s that I read earlier this month, but it definitely was awesome. So in this one we have a mermaid princess whose uncle is the king, and he has custody of his niece, the princess, and he just doesn't treat her fairly. And in this we also have a vampire, Betmal, who wasn't treated fairly by his previous partners. And so it's kind of neat to see their matchup and both of them getting this second chance at life and love, and just getting that moment. So really enjoyed that one, and I loved all the changes they made for the Havens in this one. So I need to go roll and figure out my book. I haven't submitted any of these pages yet, but depending on what I roll, I may submit this one as a sightseeing, or I may hold on to it for the dual point of view. But if I do use it for the dual point of view, or if I do use it for sightseeing, I have Misbehaving with Minotaurs that I can use as dual point of view, which is the final book in this series. So I'm going to get to rolling and then pick a book, and I will check in with you soon. Alright, Face-Off Weekend is over. I have finished a book that any host gave 5 stars to, and now I need to roll for another prompt. I also have finished the last book I was reading in the Face-Off, but didn't submit any pages. So the only caveat would be, I think if I get a book with the non-human prominent characters, I will go ahead and use that for making out with mermaids. But let's roll and see what we get. A 2. All right, so a book with a boat in the story or on the cover, a book with a prominent non-human character. I'm going to go on ahead and do that one. And then I'll submit Making Out with Mermaids and then go ahead and roll again now. Another 2. So let's go. I could do a book any host gave 5 stars again, or a book that takes place on Earth. And I'm going to go that way and see what book I decide to read next. Okay, so book has been picked. I got a book that takes place on Earth, and I set up this great TBR for the month and then ended up not using some of it. So I am going to go ahead and use First Time Caller for this. Originally I had that one set as my Involves a Holiday, and then Winter Witch I needed for sightseeing but didn't finish it in time, and it had a holiday, so I used that. So that I didn't get behind on books. So I am going to listen to First Time Caller. I have the ebook or the audiobook from my library, and I really enjoyed the other one. And now back to you. And I loved seeing these 2 characters in And Now Back to You. So I know that they're going to end up together, but we kind of know that about all romance novels. So First Time Caller, we have Aiden Valentine, who does the romance hotline at the radio station called Heartthrob. Heartthrob, I think, is what it is. Yeah, I don't remember the name. Or Heartstrings, I'm sorry. Heartstrings. And while he's on one night, a 9-year-old gives a call in to him and gives the story of her mom, who is single, and that's what this daughter wants for her mom, is for her mom to find someone to love. So I'm going to get this started. I really enjoyed, as I said, I enjoyed And Now Back to You, and I'm excited to give this one a shot because everyone seems to love it. So I'm going to get to it, and I will check in with you soon. Alright, so I am 25% through now, just a little over, but I'm enjoying this still. I do, there have been a few moments where it talks about things, or we see the events that have been mentioned in the other book. Excuse me, like Jackson climbing out his car window. But as far as Aiden and Lucy go, I'm really enjoying their back and forth. It's not really banter. I like their chemistry between the two of them. So, overall, really enjoying it. Trying not to go to sleep because it's too early for that. But overall having a good time so far with this one. I did say earlier that Mia was 9, and I was wrong on that. She's 12. So things that are going on right now is we're just getting ready to start the main part of the synopsis, and that being Lucy being on the radio show with Aiden. Lucy's kind of waffling with it right now, not fully made a decision yet. So I'm gonna get back to it and enjoy the kind of peace and quiet before a thunderstorm comes through, because when that storm comes, I'm going to sleep. I already know it. Anyway, I will check in with you guys soon. Well, it is time to start leg 5. I am not done with first time caller. I am, how far? It's trying to load. 31% through first time caller, and the next leg has dropped. So I'm actually, because this one's a romance and I'm still at the very beginning, or just the setup of it, you know, we're getting ready to start into the meat of it. I'm gonna pause for right now because I can use this for dual POV later on when that prompt comes up. But the prompt we're on right now is isolated setting. Now, I wanted to do The Caretaker by Marcus Kluwer. The library wait is 5+ weeks. Then I wanted to do Wild Dark Shore. The library wait is 5+ weeks. Then I was going to do the last one by Will Dean, and my library doesn't have the ebook or the audiobook. They only have the physical copy at 2 branches, and I don't like to drive to either of those parts. One is downtown and the other is Mount Pleasant, and I don't like to drive downtown Charleston or Mount Pleasant. It's sucky areas to drive. So, and if I were to have it transferred to mine, by the time it was transferred, I wouldn't have time to read the book. So I was watching Sorry Booked Solid's isolation book or isolated setting video, and in that one she was actually giving isolated titles for Lexi's readathon last month, and so she had a whole bunch of great recommendations, and everyone I looked up either was not available through KU, had a long wait, or my library didn't have the ebook or the audiobook. There were a couple that, like the library or Everand, had just the audiobook, but I don't know if I'm going to need the ebook as well. So I kept looking, and have settled on a book that is available through KU, and that is Behind Closed Doors. This is everything takes place in the house. So, like, when I think isolated setting, yes, I do think books like No Exit, which is, you know, they're snowed in a rest stop. Or books like And Then There Were None, where they're stuck in a house and people start dying off. Well, this one is taking place in a house, with a husband and wife, and it sounds like the wife is the one who's super isolated. So I'm going to do this one. I don't go looking for isolated settings, but every book I've read with an isolated setting I've really enjoyed. So I'm going to do this one, but from what Sorry Book Solid was saying is that I'm not going to be telling you very much about it, except for whether I like it or not, because everything that's going on is so important to the plot. So I'm going to get started on this one and check it out on my Kindle and try it and hope that it is isolated, because that's what they're looking for. So I'm gonna give this a shot, and I will check in with you soon. Alright, I did not update you guys at all during the reading of that book. I just finished Behind Closed Doors. In this one, we have a couple who have a seemingly perfect marriage, and things are not as they seem. We're just going to say that. Now, I'm struggling with this one a little bit for the prompt, because it's supposed to be an isolated setting, and while the main character is isolated, it's not really an isolated setting, in my opinion. Now, the rule always is, if you would let someone else do it, then you can count it. And because it was presented to me in an isolated settings book, if anyone else had done that and went into it assuming that it was isolated setting, I would totally let them count it. But the rule follower in me has a harder time with that. So what I'm going to do is this. I did get the Caretaker ebook from my library. So I think what I'm going to do, it's almost midnight now, so it's not going to happen tonight. But I think what I'm going to do is tomorrow I'm going to start the Caretaker and count that one as my leg 5, and then use this one as a sightseeing, because in honesty, it doesn't feel like it fits the prompt. So, that does not mean that I didn't have a great time with this book. If you're looking for a psychological thriller, B.A. Paris's debut novel, Behind Closed Doors, is definitely perfection. But I really do recommend going into it as blind as you can. And that's how I did, and it is a wild ride. So I think I'm going to give this one 5 stars. It's not its fault that it didn't meet the prompt, because that's not what the author intended. So I'm going to just enjoy that it was a great novel. I was a little confused. I hit 85% of the ebook and the book ended. I was like, what? But she has an excerpt to her next book in that one. That's the last 15%. So the book really is only 85% of the pages. But I had a wonderful time with this. I am just floored. So tomorrow will be The Caretaker. The Caretaker by Marcus Kluwer we are following Mina, I believe is her name. Yeah, Mina. She takes care of her younger sister. They are broke. She's having a hard time getting a job and finds this listing on Craigslist to be a caretaker for this woman's husband for 3 days. She goes to the interview and finds out that things are not the way that Craigslist had listed it. She's really going to be the caretaker for the house. And has to watch this video. There's a lot of things that are really like weird, just weird. And her sister is like, don't take this job. And she's like, we need it. So overall, I am enjoying it. It is quite interesting. And I don't know exactly what to think in this one. It is very very odd, but so was We Used to Live Here. So I knew it was coming. I'm 2.5 hours into a 9-hour and 45-minute video. And so I'm going to keep listening, and I will check in soon. Marcus Kluwer, what the hell did I just read? Oh my gosh. Okay, I have just finished The Caretaker by Marcus Kluwer. I read 81% of it last night and couldn't keep my eyes open anymore. So I got up this morning and finished it. And oh my goodness. That was a wild ride. So Macy, throughout the whole book, is making choice after choice after choice. And I'm not even sure what the ending was. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm gonna have to have someone else read this because I need to process my feelings. Holy moly. That was a ride. That was a ride. I don't even... This is going to get 5 stars. Hands down, 5 stars. Because I don't even fully understand. It's a really well-written book. And by the end of it, you will definitely be going, what the hell did I just read? And it's written that way on purpose. If you read through the acknowledgments, Marcus Kluwer makes a note about that. It says, let's see if I can get my Kindle to turn on. Oops. Last but not least, thank you, dear reader. To everyone who buys a book, shares it with a friend, leaves a review, posts a YouTube video, and or DMs me, what the hell did I just read? It truly means the world. Yeah, I am flabbergasted at that ending. Oh, all right. So that finishes that. I am currently waiting. We had a detour drop. Let's see. Boom. It says, welcome to the manor. Everyone has a secret. No one has an alibi. And the truth is hiding somewhere in plain sight. Time to put those detective instincts to the test. 2 paths lie before your team. You may only choose one. The deduction or the garden party. You have 1 hour to decide. So we've got about another 15 minutes before Bree tells us. But it looks like our team is going to the garden party and not the deduction. Yeah. So we're just gonna go with it. I'm not even sure. I'm gonna process what I can, because I know I'm not making any sense right now. So I'm gonna process what I can, and when the detour drops, it will determine what I'm going to do. So I will check in with you very shortly. All right, isolated setting is filled out. So let's roll a 3. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, a book with a heist, or 1, 2, 3, a book with less than 1,000 ratings on Goodreads. So let me check on the other book I read and see if that one has less than 1,000. All right. Well, I have picked my next book, and I am reading The Gilded Wolves. And I'm not even going to try to butcher the author's name. But this is the cover. I'm about 18% in right now. I started it taking my husband to get his shot for his neck. So in this one, we have a group of, they aren't, I keep wanting to call them, I mean, they are thieves, but it's 1889. The city's on the cusp of industry and power, and the Exposition Universelle has breathed new life into the streets and dredged up ancient secrets. So Severin is calling on a band of unlikely experts, an engineer, a historian, a dancer, and a brother-in-arms. And they are going to explore Paris, where they find that the things they do can change history. Now, from what I have gathered, is the bulk of Paris is divided by 4 main houses, and there's talk of the Tower of Babel in there. Just a lot going on. so far I'm enjoying it. I like the dancer's point of view. I just hit the engineer's point of view, and so far he seems pretty, or getting his backstory. And he seems an interesting character. I don't know if our ringleader, Severin, is just not, like, I'm not connecting with him yet. I'm understanding what's going on, just not fully connected with him yet. So I'm gonna keep going, and we've got about 20 minutes until dinner, so I can get a little bit more read, and just enjoy this. As I said, this is my prompt for a book with a heist in it, and they are trying to set up a heist to steal something. So I'm going to get back into it, and I will check in soon. Alright, we have just finished the Wasp and the Unicorn episode. Unicorn and Wasp, whichever way it goes. And now I need to race the clock for the leg. I am halfway through the Gilded Wolves. Plans are in place for how they're going to do this heist. So now comes the part of pulling it off. Everyone is in their places, and so let the fun commence. Well, it is time. I have finished Gilded Wolves, but I did not finish it in time. Had I not watched the Unicorn and Wasp episode, then I would have finished before the 6th leg dropped. So, where is this book going? I don't know. You'll have to find out in the next vlog. But this week, I read... Oh my goodness, this is crazy. Alright, pulling up Story Graph. This week, I have read way crazy too many books. So for the 4th leg, I did The Wedding Witch, which I had already finished. And then I started on This Story Might Save Your Life, but did not finish that before the Faceoff. So then I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books this past week. So about a book a day on average. Faceoff Weekend, I was reading I read 2 books a day. I finished 1 book on Friday, read 2 books Saturday, 2 books Sunday. So it was a phenomenal week, and I had a great time. So overall, great reading week. I did not rate Gilded Wolves. The Gilded Wolves, I am giving 4 stars. It is very interesting. I think had I been immersive reading, where I was listening and had the book in front of me, I would have enjoyed it so much more. I just kept getting lost. I would hear new words and then want to, and I'd try to parse out what one word meant, and the story kept going. So there are some things that I think I personally could have done better. So I'm not going to take a whole bunch off on this one. But I had a good time. So 4 stars for that one. And I was trying to look to see what I gave the Star-Touched Queen, which was also by this author, and I did not actually put a rating down, or at least not in Storygraph, and I'm too lazy to go look through my reading journals. So, overall, a great time. I have noticed, though, that the last 2 months I have not been updating my reading journal from Probably Smut the way that I like to, because I'm reading so many books. Anyway, enough of all of that. I will see you guys next week and let you know where I am putting The Gilded Wolves and Behind Closed Doors, because those 2 books have not been submitted yet because of reasons. So I will see you guys later. Bye.